Filingrid in Italy. This presentation has been prepared by Letizia Cinganotto from Indire in Rome and by Pierangela Diadori from Università per Stranieri di Siena in Italy. I'm Pierangela Diadori and I will present you an introduction, then Letizia will continue. I wanted to focus on the importance of considering users of the EPG and not only the developmental phases and the descriptors. So let's focus on who uses the EPG. EPG can be used by individuals and by institutions. Individuals can be language teachers in private and public schools. They may be expert or novice teachers, by teacher trainers and mentors, both in service and in pre-service, by academic coordinators, directors of study, managers of language schools, primary and secondary school principals and headmasters, and by directors of linguistic centers at university levels. All this variety of individuals refer to various kinds of institutions, like language schools and linguistic centers, university language departments, associations, training centers, research departments, and why not even Ministry of Education, although I guess it will be difficult to explain to them the importance and the use of EPG. Sorry, I'm thinking about my Italian situation. So EPG in 2016 has a very useful interactive form to be proposed to teachers, trainers, and managers. And this form allows us to consider the importance and the use of EPG for these three different categories. First of all, EPG for teachers. EPG can be used to allow a teacher to evaluate oneself, and according to the results, to find the next development phase to be reached. Or a teacher can use the EPG to keep an eye on one's own progresses and to choose, in case, the right training program to obtain a qualification, or at least to progress according to what the EPG suggests. A teacher can also collect relevant teaching and learning experiences in a dossier format, so that EPG has the same value of the European language portfolio, for example, and to discuss with peers and with managers about different categories of development of teaching abilities. EPG for teacher trainers have also a great value. For example, to allow a trainer to give advice and guide teachers, or to evaluate the participants of a course or of a group as a whole before starting the training experience, or to design training programs specifically for a specific target, or to suggest an extra training program to certain individuals, or to create further training materials for trainees. And a third category is the EPG user, who is a manager, a principal, or a headmaster of a language school. What kind of use can a manager make of EPG? First of all, to certify the competence of the staff, and as a consequence to guarantee quality standards of the institution, or to identify a lack of experience in the staff or an excess of experience in the staff, and therefore to offer new positions to be covered, or to decide who will cover a certain task, for example in helping the manager himself or herself in guiding the institution, or to offer in-service teacher training. So these three individuals are certainly helped by the use of EPG. But of course, each one may have different points of view. For example, let's consider teachers and managers. What what do you think are the weak points of EPG for a teacher, or which are its strengths for a teacher? And at the same time, which are the weak points of the EPG, or the strong points of the EPG for a manager? There are different points of view. Just an example, it can be seen by a teacher as a mean of controlling its competence, and from the point of view of a manager, it can be also used as a selective method for the staff. But if we try to consider how important is mutual understanding, especially from the point of view of these two categories who work together and often don't know each other, I think, and we both think, Letizia and I, that it's a great help. And Letizia will now continue presenting us a pilot experience, a pilot project that we have developed in Italy using EPG with school principals and their language teachers. So I now leave Letizia to explain and to illustrate the results and the methodology of this pilot project.
I'm Letizia Cinganotto. I'm a researcher at INDIRE, the National Institute for Documentation, Innovation and Educational Research in Italy. The Institute has been following the evolution of the Italian school system for 90 years. So I've been planning and implementing the pilot project with Pierangela Diadori in Italy. We selected 26 Italian schools to be involved in this project. As you can see from the map, the 26 schools were all from all over Italy, quite well distributed all over Italy, and there were 25 upper secondary schools and one comprehensive school, including primary and lower secondary school. This is the list of all the schools cooperating with us, I would like to take the opportunity to thank all the managers, the principals and the teachers working with us. So the steps of the project. First of all, we selected the schools, then we defined the research protocol, we presented the EPG and the protocol to the schools, so the principals and teachers. Then we sent the EPG in the paper version and the protocol to the schools, to the principals, to the managers. We collected the data and we analyzed the data with a quality data management according to the framework analysis, and then we wrote the final research report. So the methodology we chose for the quality data management is the framework analysis, and this is the reasons why we chose this methodology. First of all, because it has a case and theme based approach, and that is what we were looking for. It has a matrix display. It reduces data through summarization and synthesis. It retains links to regional data, and the output allows comprehensive and transparent data analysis. So that's why we chose this methodology for our research project. So the first step was the meeting at the Italian Ministry of Education in Rome. We had a conference on the 7th of October 2015, where we invited the schools, the managers and teachers, and we presented there the EPG, of course, first of all the English version, then the Italian version by Pierangela, and then we presented the research protocol. So the steps of the protocol were as follows. First of all, the manager had to identify a language teacher willing to cooperate, and then the manager was supposed to complete the EPG, assessing, of course, the identify language teacher, and then the language teacher had to complete the EPG in self-assessment, so of course individually. And then they had to agree on a brief meeting we had to discuss and to compare the two APGs, the two different versions, and had to discuss about differences and similarities, trying to find out, of course, try to understand the reasons for them. We also asked them to, if possible, to tell us, write some comments on the value of the APG itself as a possible assessment tool within the Italian educational system, especially according to the recent national evaluation system that that was recently introduced into our school system and is being implemented in just in these years. This is a matrix that can give us an overall idea, an overall yes, perspective of the outcomes. 19 schools out of 26 stated that there were no differences between the teachers' self-assessment and managers' assessment. So pretty the same. I mean, they just commented that the two different evaluations were just pretty similar. 7 schools out of 26 stated that they found minor differences between teacher self-assessment and managers' assessment. So they the difference differences were not that I mean level of importance. They were just minor differences, but of course they were significant for us. And then 12 out of 26 schools sent us comments on the APG, on the value, on the indicators, on the possible application of the APG into our Italian school system, while 10 out of 26 schools didn't send any comments. So minor differences. I collected the most significant comments and just you know, translating, because of course teachers and managers wrote in Italian, and then we translated into English their comments. So one of the most important reasons for these differences is just the fact that often that the teacher often doesn't underestimates his or her competencies and compared, of course, to the manager's evaluation. For example, in one case, the teacher doesn't feel able to self-assess his or her level of competence in the English language as C1, even if he or she has the proper qualifications, maybe because he or she is not a native speaker, so she just underestimates her competencies. So minor differences in the approach to the APG. The teacher considers his or her teaching background as instrumental to his or her role, the manager gives this background for granted and is just focusing more on relational and cultural competencies inside and outside the school in national and international roles and tasks. This is another case. But as you can see, comments are pretty similar. It's a matter of different vision. Different vision seems to be the key. So the manager has a holistic perspective of the school context, where the teacher is more concerned only about his or her specific competencies. Another case, which is quite relevant, is that sometimes differences emerge due to simply not knowing. In a case, the manager didn't know that the English teacher was using Moodle or was involved in administrative tasks, and so just maybe couldn't state this competency because simply didn't know them. Comments on the APG as a possible assessment tool in the Italian educational system. So the general comment is that the APG is a very powerful tool for school improvement. So it can give the opportunity, it can give teachers the opportunity to reach better self-awareness of their competencies, thanks to the external perspective of the manager, also considering their future professional development. And so it's of course a powerful tool for teachers for them to reach better self-awareness, but also for managers, for principals to better better understand the teacher's competencies from a wider perspective, not only the specific teaching competencies. But the weaknesses were commented on are mainly related to the fact that the EPG doesn't fit the Italian school system for some indicators. So we should, of course, consider our Italian context, specific context. For example, in Italy, it's not common that teachers are observed and assessed by their manager or by other colleagues, and also the EPG lacks reference to some particular aspects that were pointed out as relevant very important, so to be taken into account. For example, PhD, scholarship, internship, experiences abroad, and other experiences as a tutor or trainer in training initiatives carried out for other colleagues. So these were pointed out as important, as relevant, so maybe for possible application into the educational system should be taken into account. And the other point is the fact that in Italy, the EPG could work, but only if the manager knows the school context well and has been working there for a long time. Otherwise, it's quite weak. So as you can see, there's the positive, these are more or less recurring comments. So general positive comment on the EPG as yes, considering a systemic approach. But yeah, once again, the advice is to consider some areas, some others, and which are not provided by the Italian school system, and some other aspects which are, on the contrary, part of the system and not provided in the EPG. The role of the mentor, for example, is not institutionalized in the Italian school system, and so the relevant competencies could be only indirectly observed. So of course, these elements should be taken into account. Once again, important international training experiences are not considered, like Comenius, scholarship, European projects, training, and should be maybe, yes, added. So general positive remarks about the EPG, just for this important connection, this important link between self-evaluation and external evaluation upon agreed criteria. So self-evaluation and external evaluation are the two key words for Italian education system nowadays, according to what's going on within the national evaluation system. That's why EPG is perfectly in line with what's happening nowadays in Italy. This is just a general visualization through a mapping of the main findings that is just just may give you an idea of yes, what the general comments and general outputs of this pilot project, which are rewarding and encouraging for, yes, a possible implementation of DPG into our educational system. So thank you for this opportunity and looking forward to a possible future development of EPG in Italy. Thank you and goodbye. Have a nice conference.